Good evening and good morning to all the participants joining from US. A very warm welcome to everyone from my side. My name is Avinash. I am one of the co-founder and I look after pCloudy as business. Thanks for taking time to join this webinar. I'm excited to see all of you showing your interest in this topic. Though this mode of webinar does not allow interactive session, but you can always share your thoughts and questions in the questions tab. I'll be taking up those questions towards end of the session. So let's get started. Achieving quality at speed has been a challenge for mobile app test teams. And as part of today's session, we are going to look at some very interesting ways of solving these challenges for the teams. The agenda for today's session is divided into 4 different areas. The first one, I'll take a couple of minutes to talk about what pCloudy as a solution is. Since we are talking about mobile app testing challenges, it's very important to understand some of the important roadblocks. And since the topic is focused around how to achieve quality with speed, we'll spend few minutes understanding what the challenges are when we talk quality and speed together. And lastly, and the majority of session will be devoted around discussing possible solutions around these challenges and how do we achieve quality and speed together. So with this agenda in place, I'll start with the first session. I'll start with the first topic of discussion, which is what is pCloudy all about? So pCloudy as a solution fundamentally is a device cloud which can be used to test all kind of mobile applications, be it native, hybrid, mobile web, or PWA. And it gives you ability to do full spectrum of testing, manual, automated, in-field UI testing, as well as a lot of data around device analytics. This can be used, the platform can be used both by the QA teams and development teams. So QA team typically uses the platform through a web interface, and the development team uses the platform through various plugins that we provide. So plugins are Android Studio, Xcode, or there are other plugins like Cordova. So depending on what is your development platform, you can use the respective plugins and access the platform and use the real devices for testing. Now, pCloudy platform has various flavors to it. One of the most popular flavor is public cloud, where we have 500 plus real devices hosted on cloud. And we are very proud to say that we have one of the widest variety of devices in the world. A lot of the devices that we have we provide real SIMs along with the devices, which means you can do network related testing as well. And the devices, 500 plus devices that we are talking about, are spread across 4 locations: India, US, Australia, and Philippines. And we are adding more locations as we speak right now. There are other flavors available for organizations to choose from, and the flavors are either private cloud, where organization can set up a dedicated cloud for their own use when they are looking at 24/7 dedicated devices, or on-prem cloud, where if you already have devices within your organization and you want to create an internal cloud for your distributed teams, on-premise solution could be this option. So this in a nutshell is what pCloudy all about in terms of what the high level features are and what are the various flavors and offerings are. So having set the context around pCloud as a solution, let's now talk a little bit about the quality speed conundrum, and that's going to be the focus of discussion today. So traditionally, I mean, you would have seen within your organization or within your context, traditionally the term speed and quality is not used together. There is always a trade-off between quality and speed. But we live in a new world now, and questions are increasingly asked that why can't both coexist? And that's the need of the hour. So can there be a better example of quality at speed than to talk about F1 racing? Some of you might already be aware of this fact that last year Felipe Massa of Williams broke the fastest pit stop record of Red Bull. And can you imagine that within 1.92 seconds, the pit stop team was able to replace all 4 tires along with refuel? And in this time frame, can they afford any error? Absolutely not. And isn't it really amazing? So with this analogy, how is this relevant in the context of mobile apps? So, I mean, if you look at mobile apps, consumers have very little patience for bad mobile experience. We all have seen this. We can wait for 15 minutes in a queue if we are buying something from a store. But if a mobile app takes more time to load the catalog, we'll start cribbing about it. We'll start posting bad reviews or might even ditch the app. And that's one of the reason quality is becoming one of the key driver for organizations to increase the adoption of their apps among their consumers. You can build features, but if you don't focus enough on quality and user experience, your adoption is not going to increase. Moreover, in today's world, consumers are spoiled for choices. So in the context of India, you have Amazon, you have Flipkart. So organizations and business teams want to release the changes faster to outdo their competition. So it's also about speed, and both has to go hand in hand. And that's very true, especially in the world of mobile, which is moving so fast. So we talked about quality and speed, the need of quality and speed together, but to achieve that, there are major roadblocks. And I would like to quote Gartner here, and Gartner says that for mobile developers, mobile testing is the elephant in the room, which means the strategy for mobile app testing is still not very clear to a lot of organizations and a lot of mobile teams. Unlike testing of web or other legacy kind of application, it has its unique challenges, and that's where the strategy to a lot of organizations and teams are not very clear. So I would like to just take few moments to talk about some of the key challenges. And some of the challenges that I'm showing you here are quite widely talked about. So something like device diversity, which exists in the market, and it increases the testing effort exponentially. Continuous new launches of new operating system versions, which increase the regression effort exponentially. Every time there is a new OS upgrade, you have to test the app for that change. And mobile automation. Mobile automation has so many limitations because the tools are not evolved. A lot of tools are not able to handle various cases related to gestures or cases dependent on device hardware such as audio, camera, accelerometer, etc. But these are the challenges you already know, and you might be working to overcome these challenges. I would like to highlight some of the challenges which are very unique to mobile apps, and these challenges make the testing extremely challenging. So something like network performance. I mean, if you look at, we all have experienced this. Phone networks are quite unpredictable, and exhibit wide variations in bandwidth and latency depending on where you are, which network are you using. So users in different locations accessing different operators can experience vastly different application performance. And how do you test for that is a huge challenge. Next is user experience testing, testing in various contexts. So many users are going to use the application when they travel, or applications might be designed for agents who are in field and they will be using it with a sweaty hand. So is the touch gesture sensitive enough? So those are quite unique challenges to mobile. Uh, Testing for user opinions. So user reviews play a large part in determining whether the number of downloads for apps will be high or low. So understanding the user reaction to an app before you push the app to App Store is extremely important, and that is why whether however much you test in lab, a real user opinion from the field is extremely important. And nowadays we are seeing a lot of new devices which are smart devices, and they work in conjunction with mobile apps. So how do you test those apps which needs to be tested with these add-on devices? And we are seeing the proliferation of such devices in our lives increasingly. So these are some of the unique challenges that we see as far as mobile app testing is concerned, and these form very these are the kind of roadblocks which we need to overcome if we have to achieve quality at speed. So having said that, can we so the question is, we talked about quality at speed and the potential roadblocks, but the question is, how do we overcome that? And that is what we are going to talk about now. So what I have done as part of this session is, what are the solutions that we have in store for users when they are using pCloudy? And those solutions are categorized into these 6 areas which form the top 6 challenges when you talk about mobile app testing. So we'll take up each of the challenge and see how do we solve it with pCloudy as a solution. So the first challenge that I'm going to talk about is the optimum device coverage. So we talked about device diversity as a challenge. So the question is, how do we find out optimum device coverage when you start your mobile app testing? And that is very important part of the strategy. If you don't have the device coverage in place, your testing will not be complete. So, and that's a huge challenge. But luckily, as part of pCloudy, we provide you data which can be a very good starting point to figure out the right device coverage. And the feature that we provide is called Device Planner. So using Device Planner, the data around devices along with their network penetration is available on a single click. So you can select the country and select your market coverage that you are looking at, and you can get the list of potential devices that you should prioritize when you plan for your testing. So here you can see we have selected India, and market coverage is 25%, and I can see the top devices in this segment starting from Xiaomi, Redmi, Galaxy S8, Note 8, etc. So this can form a basis of selecting right device coverage, and you can include this data, or you can use this data along with the data that you get from your App Store analytics, which your marketing team can provide, and then you can combine these two data to create your device coverage. So this helps you take an informed decision rather than second guessing the device coverage and then later realizing that my testing is not complete. So that's the first part of it. pCloudy Device Planner helps you optimize the device coverage and helps you find right devices for your testing. The second challenge that I'm going to cover is, okay, we have figured out the optimum device coverage, but where do we find those devices? So let's say my device coverage tells me to test on 50 devices. Where am I going to find those 50 devices? And these devices keep changing. I mean, 3 months, you start your testing today, 3 months down the line, your device coverage can change. So how do I find those devices whenever I need to test my application? That's the another challenge that we are going to address. So there are three ways using which you can find devices. Either you can buy all those devices, you can find it on rent, or you can use a cloud solution. And I'm not going to deliberate much on this, but it's a no-brainer. Device cloud is one of the most cost-effective way to find variety of devices, and there are several studies and research reports on that. You can take a look at those reports on internet. But just to give you a proof, especially in the context of pCloudy, pCloudy, as I earlier mentioned, on public cloud, we have 500 plus devices available across multiple locations with real SIMs. And the way we have selected 500 plus devices, it covers a variety of manufacturers, different screen sizes, different operating systems, and different networks. So pCloudy as a solution can give you, can support you in terms of finding out right devices in your mobile app test journey. So this solves the second challenges second challenge that we talked about. Moving on to the third part of the challenge, which is one of the most discussed ones, is speeding up the testing on cloud. And just to elaborate it, I mean, whenever we go and meet customers and users, one of the concerns that they have is device cloud the most efficient way? Okay, we can find the devices on cloud. It solves my problem of finding variety of devices, but is it the most efficient way? Will it slow down my testing? And to help you understand what the benefits are and how it's faster than any other method, let's take a typical testing scenario, which you do it all the time during your mobile app testing when you are using the physical device in hand. So you connect the device to a local system, you install the application through the local machine, you then start testing, go through the various scenarios, screens, forms, etc. And then during that process, whenever you find some issues, you would like to take screenshots. And then once your scenario is complete, you would like to log certain bugs. And as part of bugs, you will have to attach the screenshots and the logs, because that's what is asked by developers when they start looking at those bugs. So this is a typical use case that we see users performing on a physical device in hand. So let's see how do we do it on a cloud, and especially in the context of pCloudy. So once you connect to a device on pCloudy, what you see here is the screen of real-time streaming screen of the device. And there are various features which are available on single click. So we talked about the typical scenario where you will install the application on single click, and this is available on a pCloudy platform, where you can just click on this icon, install, and then select the application, and the application gets installed on the device. So there's no other steps required. Then we talked about finding out or downloading the log file. So you can use the log option that we provide again as a single click to keep a track on the log in real time, or you can download it at any point of time to be attached as part of the bug. But again, it's a single click option that we have on the device. You don't need to fire any command, etc. Then we talked about taking screenshots. That's also available on a single click. You can take as many screenshots as you want. And not only you can take screenshots, you can edit the screenshot then and there, because you would have seen a bug and you want to report and mark that bug. So you can just use our editor, screenshot editor, to mark the bug and then save the screenshot then and there. So it really saves the time, because you are in that context and you know what to mark and what to log as a bug. So once the screenshot is saved, from the same interface you can log a bug. And right now we are supporting tools like Jira and some other open source tools. So if you click on the log a bug, it takes you to a different screen where you can report the issue in terms of some general fields you need to enter. And then the most important part is that you can attach the log and screenshots right from here. So all the logs that you are seeing as part of streaming can be attached as a file as part of this bug. And also the screenshot that you have taken as part of your session can be attached. So you don't need to download and log it separately. From the same interface, you can just log the bug. So now coming back to the main device screen. So we saw some important features like installation, screenshots, log files, but there are so many other features available which really helps you speed up your testing when you are performing manual application testing on a device, which is very difficult to do it on a physical device in hand. You need to download various tools depending on a particular device manufacturer, etc. While everything here is taken care on a single click. So coming back to the scenario that we talked about, when you do it in a device in hand versus device in a cloud, we have seen multiple instances and we have multiple case studies available with customers where if you follow these steps over a period of time, you save on a single device. Users have been able to save more than 30%. So testing on a pCloudy cloud device is 30% faster than testing on a device in hand. So this definitely should put an end to the doubt that testing on cloud is slower than testing on physical device. Now we have taken it to a different level. So testing on single device still like driving a car in third gear, but how can we take it in fifth gear? So so far, whether you do testing on a physical device in hand or on a device on cloud, you are accessing a single device together. You are accessing single device at any given point of time. But can we test it on multiple devices together? And this is where we have changed the game. We have a feature called Multiview or Follow Me, where you can select your application. You can select multiple devices. Right now we are supporting 3 devices at any given point of time, but we'll be adding more devices per session. And then select one of the device as master device. And here we go. We can test it on 3 devices together. So you just perform your action on the master device, which is in the center of screen, and the other 2 devices will follow. So you are not just testing on one device here. You are testing on 3 devices together. So your speed is increasing 3x. And there are other benefits, like you can compare the screens in real time and you can figure out those UI related issues very, very quickly. You don't need to compare the screenshots separately and then look at what the problems are. That's generally the way people do it. But we have given a solution to do that kind of testing where you're not only speeding up the testing, but you can compare in real time across various devices and then find out right kind of bugs and log it then and there. So this just changes the game when you are doing manual testing, and this is what we call it testing in the fifth gear. But not only that, forget gears. Nowadays, we all want to drive a F1 car. So why can't we race like an F1 car? Can we do that when we are talking about mobile app testing? So here, as part of pCloudy, we have built certain bots which are AI driven. So you are not only testing yourself, you can take help of bots to speed up your testing. And the bots test the application like an end user and provide you real-time insights into the app behavior and performance. So I'm not saying that bots will do a thorough end-to-end testing like an end user does, but it's a very important supportive tool for you to expand your coverage and find out issues very, very quickly. And one scenario where a lot of customers are using it is during the sanity test. So once a new build comes, uh, you can quickly run the bot test and get results within 10 to 15 minutes, where it will test it on 10-15 devices together and then give you back the report. So if there are some major crashes or any priority one issues, you can figure out very, very quickly. So there are multiple use cases to it, but that's one of the use case customers have really uh, liked about it, and they are using it extensively. So to give you a slightly more detailed view of it, how it works, we call it certifier. So as part of bot test, you just need to select the application here using the plus icon, and then provide certain more credentials. If the application needs, like username, passwords, you can provide more test data to it, depending on how many, for example, there are some form field within your application where you need to enter your data before the application proceeds further. You can provide the test data here in this section, application credentials and test data. And once you have done that, just say run, sit back and relax. The bot will do the testing, and then it will generate a comprehensive report with various insights. And one of the key insights is the app performance across variety of devices. So this report is on these 7 devices, and this report was completed in somewhere around 75 minutes. But now the bot has become faster. This is a slightly older report. Generally, the reports are available within 15 to 20 minutes. So this is one of the dashboard that you see, and you can see the kind of data which it has collected, and you can go and drill down to a device level and see what was the result on a specific device. So what is the result of crash test? What is the result of exploratory test? And then you can analyze and take actions accordingly. So with the help of bot and the follow me testing, we are very, very confident to say that we have really cracked the speed part of it, where the doubt that any user had about using cloud for mobile app testing will get completely vanished. And not only that, you will be able to improve your existing speed, you can improve it exponentially. Now, moving to the next challenge, can the cloud solution be used to increase the testing parameter? Because as we discussed earlier, as part of the roadblocks, one of the key ask was how is the performance of the application, be it network related or in-field performance. That's one of the key criterias which defines the success of a mobile application. So not only the functional test of it, functionality test part of it, performance of the application, performance testing of the application is a very important activity in the context of mobile app testing. And as part of pCloudy, again, we provide you a single click option to track the performance of the application when you are doing testing on a device. So I'm talking about the analysis tab here on the right side of the screen. And while you're doing testing, you can just click on the analysis tab and it will start throwing you real-time data around memory usage, CPU usage, frame rendering count, battery consumption report for both application as well as device. So this way, while you are doing functional testing, you can capture all the performance, relevant performance data, and then analyze it and report it back to your dev teams. Not only that, we also have an option where you can test your application behavior as well as performance across various network parameters. And we talked about as part of the roadblock importance of various and how various networks impact the application performance. So we call it network virtualization or network simulation, where we already have various profiles that you can use it as part of your testing. So some of the profiles are listed here in this screenshot. So you can test your application on slow networks like 3G average. You can test it on a high speed network like 4G data Australia, or you can also test it on very slow networks like 2G. And if you have a very specific network in mind, network profile in mind, you can let us know and we can configure that. So the whole idea is that within a lab situation itself, you should be able to simulate various field conditions and see the behavior and then preempt the bugs that can happen when the app is launched in the market. So very important testing that should be part of your strategy when you plan for mobile app testing. So this is one of the typical profile 4G data Australia, where the upload speed is 30 Mbps, download speed is upload speed is 11 and download is 35 with delay and losses. So moving on to the next challenge, and one of the success parameters of any mobile app testing strategy is solving the automation challenge. Because we talked about testing on variety of devices, impact of operating system changes, why and how it increases the regression effort, that can only be managed if we have the automation strategy in place. So, and it's very important that we solve that automation challenge early on within the testing strategy. And there are a few important decisions to be taken when you think about your automation strategy. What kind of tool that you are looking at. So you want to depend on a tool which requires a lot of technical skills, or you are looking at the tools to be used widely by your user base. So a codeless automation tool is of choice. What kind of parallel execution are you looking at? How many parallel threads will you be executing? Will it be emulators or real devices? The execution will be emulators or on real devices. And how does it work in your agile and DevOps environment? Because most of the mobile app projects are following DevOps methodologies these days. So we have within pCloudy our own automation studio, which we call it Opti. So from within pCloudy, you can launch the automation studio, which allows you to record a script on a cloud device. So while you are doing functional testing, you just navigate through the application and your script gets recorded in parallel. And the script, as you can see, is recorded in a very simple keyword-driven fashion. So whatever action that you perform, there is a corresponding keyword which is generated, and you can very easily see what the script is by going through the keywords. So without writing any line of code, you can generate the script, and it has advanced automation features like parameterization. Then you can add your own logic. So those are certain advanced operations that can be done, but the basis of, or the fundamental reason why we have given this automation studio is to make the life easy for anyone who is creating automation script. And once the automation script is done, without any effort, you can execute it on multiple devices together. So here you can see we have opened the execution wizard, where we can select any number of devices which we want to add as part of parallel execution. So we have selected here almost 7 devices, and this number can be anything. So the execution wizard will take care of the parallel execution of the scripts. Just imagine the time and effort that you will be putting in writing a framework to run your scripts in parallel. Here it's all on a single click, without putting any effort at all. So that's, so you not only you can create your automation script, but you can run it on parallel devices using Automation Studio. But we also have given a flexibility for users who have already created their automation scripts using Appium or other frameworks. So we have an option where you can export the script in a Java format. So you can just quickly record the script using the Automation Studio and then say export to Java, and it generates Appium format script. Right now it's only limited to the Java language, but we'll be coming up with other languages as well, like Node or Ruby. So other languages supported by Appium, but if you're using Java as Appium, you can just export it and then copy paste the script within your existing framework. So it just gives you a speed of automation creation. So you can not only use your existing framework, but you can speed up your automation testing significantly by using the Automation Studio. And again, going back to the previous screen, you also have an option to spy. So if, let's say, your automation script fails, you can use the spy option to debug the scripts and then take appropriate action, which is one of the big problems working with frameworks like Appium, debugging of the scripts. So we have seen a lot of customers using OpKey and solving their automation challenges. And just to add one more line, OpKey has integration with all the DevOps tool like Jenkins, again available as simple plugins to be used. So you don't need to write any separate code or put any separate effort for it. And the last part of the challenge that I want to cover in this session is how do we get real user opinion. So all the talks that we have been doing so far is testing within lab, but as we discussed earlier in the roadblock section, getting the real user opinion is very important before you make any big release. So as part of pCloudy, we have integration with a crowdsource testing platform, which we call it Crowd for Test, where you can post your application or you can upload your application, select certain criterias in terms of what kind of testing that you'd like the users to do, what kind of users you would like to get as part of Crowd, who will be testing your application. You provide all that parameter, and then you get a detailed report by end users testing your application. So this is not your internal testing. This is testing done by real users sitting across various locations, and we have more than 15,000 users across the globe, which can be used to test your application in real field situations. So this can be used as part of major releases where you can get feedback from the market before you push the application to the App Store. And a lot of our customers are already using it to successfully to ensure that their apps do not have major issues when they launch. So this kind of concludes the agenda that I had in mind. And to summarize the discussion in a nutshell, one of the important tasks that we are seeing increasingly is how do we achieve quality at speed? And in the context of mobile app, it becomes extremely important to crack this conundrum. And until unless you have the right tools, it's very difficult to achieve this state, because mobile application has its own roadblocks, which makes the mobile app testing extremely challenging. So pCloudy has solutions to achieve this or overcome these roadblocks, and we talked about those challenges and how do we solve that using pCloudy in some detail, but pCloudy has much more to offer you, which you can go and explore. So with this thought, I'll ask you, all of you, to go and maybe do a trial sign up. And if you require extended trial, you can request us. All the features are available as part of trial. So I would encourage you to go and look at the trial and then start exploring, and feel free to reach out to us if you face any issue or you need any help. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope it was an useful session. If you have any question, feel free to just put that question in the question tab. I'll try to take it up as many as I can. So there is a question, OpKey automation is also available for iOS. So yes, OpKey is available for iOS as well. However, the recording feature works differently for iOS, but it can definitely be used for iOS application as well. There is another question. The device analytics that we have is based on customers who use pCloudy devices, or it's from market analytics. So it's a combination of the analytics that we have based on usage by customers and the market analytics. But the large part of it is market analytics. So we have tied up with certain research firms which provide us this data in real time. So this is the data which is largely driven by the market analytics. So if you are using this data, you'll see the changes happening almost on a weekly basis, because we are getting this data from the research firm. So as soon as they update it, we update the data here. So there is one more question around the Certifier bot. So what all can it test? So right now, the Certifier bot can be used to do exploratory functional tests on the applications. So the way bot works is it traverses through the application and tries to find out all the application paths. Um, and it might happen in some scenarios that some of the paths are missed, but it also learns. So if you run it multiple times, you'll see better result because the bot is also learning the data based on the application pattern that it finds out. And we are improving the bot on a continuous basis, but it is largely used for exploratory test and quite suitable if you need to find out um, crashes, corner scenarios, etc. So there is a question around the private cloud offering. So how does private cloud work? So all the examples or all the screenshots that you saw within the demo or within the session was from our public cloud, but all the features are available as part of private cloud as well, where we host a separate instance for a customer. So if you need access of devices 24/7 and you are looking to use the cloud extensively for your automation, DevOps integrations, private cloud is the right option. The only limitation with the private cloud is you will have limited set of devices, but those devices are available to you 24/7, and you can use it in an unlimited way. There is one more question. So is there any payment to be done to use full version of pCloudy? So pCloudy is a paid tool. However, there is a trial version available where you can use it to get access of certain limited set of devices. And once you like it, you can pay and use for your regular testing. There is one more question around pCloudy uses for dev teams. So as I mentioned earlier, we have, I mean, what we saw, most of the screenshots that we saw was through the web interface of pCloudy, which is generally used by the QA teams. So they log into the web interface through a browser and they can access the devices and perform all the actions that we saw. But typically developers, the way they use it is they build the application, make the changes, build the application, and then they would like to deploy it on a device and run their tests. So we have plugins which can be used to connect to a cloud device as if the device is connected to the local system. So we call it tunnels. So we have iOS tunnel as well as Android tunnel, using which you can connect to our cloud device through the tunnel, and the device gets virtually connected to your local system. So then you can perform all the dev related debugging that you generally do when you have the device available with you locally. So which is a very powerful tool because generally developers want access of the devices where the bug has been logged and they want to reproduce it and debug it. So in that case, device tunnel is used extensively by developers. There is an ask, can we have tutorial webinar for specific Android or iOS application and complete testing process? So yes, we have a lot of demo videos already available on our support portal. We can share that with you separately, or you can just go to the website and look at support center, and you'll find all the demo videos and tutorials. However, there are webinars happening on regular basis where we go and talk about features in detail. As part of this session, the objective was to give you a sense of all the challenges or how do we solve it through pCloudy. But there are regular webinars which are happening which are feature focused. So you can also look to attend those in future. I'll take one last question before we conclude the session. So, question around support, bug management tool support. So, other than Jira, is there any bug tracking tool we can use with pCloudy? So, on the public cloud, we have integration with Jira by default, but as part of our on-prem or private cloud setups, we integrate with variety of other tools, like we have done it for quality center, we have done it with rational quality management, because we have open APIs which can be used to integrate with any tool that exists in the market. So hope that answers some of the questions. Hope I have answered some of the questions that were raised. There are some more questions which are coming in, but we'll be sending the answers to those questions in a separate mail. We'll definitely reach out to you individually. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate your time for this session. Feel free to let us know your feedbacks, and hope to see you for the next webinar. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.